professor, physician, epidemiologist. I am Dr. Sri Banerjee. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences and Public Policy at Walden University, with a joint position with Ross University School of Medicine. Wanted to lecture on the United Nations website, specifically an important convention on the rights of persons with disabilities. And I've been attending the World Psychiatric Association World Congress, the 22nd one, in the last couple of days. And this has been brought to my attention as being a very important area where mental health needs to be addressed in a more complete way. So this was actually a convention that took place um, recently on May 6th of this year, and ratifications 185 and signatories 164. And you can kind of take a look and see what is included within this convention. It's actually broken down pretty nicely, so you don't have to go through the whole document necessarily if you want to skip to something. I always like documents with clickable links, because then this allows to for better perusing of different topics. So it starts off by stating the purpose, which is always great to know. I'm just going to quickly read the purpose because it's pretty short. The purpose of the present convention is to promote, protect, and ensure the full and equal enjoyment of all human rights and fundamental freedoms by all persons with disabilities, and to promote respect for their inherent dignity. Persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments. Sensory is not something that is oftentimes explicitly stated. So which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. So there's a number of definitions that you can go through and then take a look at that. General principles. It's always good to kind of look at the 8 principles. Just start off, and see what each of these have. So respect for inherent dignity for individuals with disabilities, individual autonomy, including the freedom to make one's own choices and independence of persons, non-discrimination, full and effective participation and inclusion in society, respect for difference and acceptance of persons with disabilities as part of human diversity and humanity, equality of opportunity, accessibility, equality between men and women, and respect for the evolving capacities of children with disabilities, and respect for the right of children with disabilities to preserve their identities. So these are the 8 general principles that guide this document. So then we go on to talking about women with disabilities, children with disabilities, awareness raising, accessibility, the right to life, access to justice, situations of risk and humanitarian emergencies. There's quite a few articles, and I'm not going to read all 50 of them because that would not be proper use of this short amount of time that I have to record this. But I really urge you to go through some of these, and especially when it pertains to health. But as I was saying, in mental health, there's not enough that's been written along the areas. There's overall health that's being addressed, public health that's being addressed, and I think it's It's worth your while to go over some of this. States parties recognize that persons with disabilities have the right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of health without discrimination on the basis of disability. So states parties shall take all appropriate measures to ensure access for persons with disabilities to health services that are gender sensitive, including health related rehabilitation. In particular states, parties shall so so providing persons with disability with the same range, quality, and standard of free or affordable health care, providing health services needed by persons with disabilities, providing health services as close as possible to people's own communities, including in rural areas. And this is areas where geospatial awareness can really really help guide directed resources allocation within communities. And then require health professionals to provide care of the same quality to persons with disabilities as to others, including on the basis of free and informed consent by inter alia, raising awareness of the human rights, dignity, autonomy, and needs of persons with disabilities through training and the promulgation of ethical standards for public and private healthcare. Prohibiting discrimination against persons with disabilities and preventing discriminatory denial of healthcare or health services or food and fluids on the basis of disability. Now, disability is a very broad term, and it's very interesting and important to understand that disability may not just be manifest within physical contexts, but also move on to cognitive disabilities, and then also disabilities of affect. And so when you have a complex combination of cognitive disabilities, affective disabilities, and then kind of have maybe a mixture of some of these. It's challenging. It's challenging interacting with your healthcare provider and express to them what it is that you may be experiencing. And so oftentimes it takes a little bit more understanding and knowledge and a little bit more training in physician patient interactions to be able to understand people with disabilities. So this has to come from upstream factors addressing social determinants and understanding more importantly the plight of people who have disabilities, who have things that really get in the way of activities of daily living, and to be able to understand that takes time and training. So I'm going to end this with some pictures of the ceremony at the UN. At the signing of this, it was a very great event. It was a treatise that was signed, and there's multiple pictures of this. This is great. And so this is the whole document. If you wanted to take a look, 211 pages, many different languages, and this is the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, written in many different languages, and it really, it really, really uh, makes me happy to see so many different languages and perspectives um, uh, agreeing to something like this, something big like this. But I wanted to flip on over to some bonus material, looking at specifically where there is wording on disabilities and people with disabilities and rights for that. This is article number 27, and as it pertains to work, we went over 25. Remember, in the main video. So in 27, there are actually quite a few statements which go into not only talking about protecting against slavery, but also ensuring that persons with disabilities are not discriminated against. The rights of persons with disabilities are equal with others, just and favorable conditions of work. Ensure that persons with disability are able to exercise their labor and trade, have effective access, employment opportunities, career advancement opportunities for self-employment, entrepreneurship, development of cooperatives, persons with disabilities